Well, that was exciting. The internet went down right in the middle of as someone put it just now, Will put it, too deep. Yes, I exceeded. It was a Stack Overflow. Right, anyway, so meanwhile back at the old ranch, so what I'm trying to do is I would like to know if I can debug Visual Studio Console application accepting input from standard in. This is a supported debugging scenario. You have to make sure that the debugger can find the file. Leave the command setting at target path, and you're allowed to put it in the command line arguments. Yeah, hi Garcia. I think what probably happened there was I was saying something I was not allowed to talk about. We're not allowed to get too close to things that make sense. That's not allowed. You know, it's like this. Yeah, nothing. All right, look, what I've decided to do here is I have captured into a file called data.raw the save using that FFmpeg, redirecting that to and setting the sample rate at God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. It's heresy. I was excommunicated. It was I don't know what it was. It was an internet outage by the looks of it. I rebooted my router, you know, and then it came back. So These things happen. So yes, and the reason I picked 24K was because the frequencies are either 1200 or 2400, so it's good to pick a multiple. I've gone for 24K. I mean, technically, no, it's fine. I'm going to stick with that. That's 24K. And then apparently, and I didn't know this, so I'm learning something new today. Always learning. Although in the case of Microsoft toolchains, you're always learning something that's probably going to become obsolete next week. We are looking at the debugging and the command arguments. I can actually do the following. I can set, it's allegedly, I can set that to the target path, and in the arguments I can go to redirect from a file so that I can debug file redirection. Now then I need to go from project directory. That's the directory with the project. The directory with the project is this one. Into debug. That's very important. When I push in the debug. Debug. There we go in there. Yes, debug. And in debug we see, after a little bit of examination, that we have data.raw. And so data.raw is what I put here. We'll see if that works. I doubt it, because most of the time it takes at least 3 attempts at such things, but oh my god, it works. That is so cool. Well, it's not really cool, but it's expected behaviour. It's more of a shock. I'm terrible, aren't I? So we do this. I want to remember this command. It's going to be really annoying if I forget it. So let's put that in there. So, right, and what I should be able to ascertain then is, where are they, high or low? Well, actually, let's, you know what I'm gonna do? I need to keep right, I'm going to get rid of this, I don't use, no, I need sample, I'm going to get rid of that, don't need that anymore, keep this as the parsing section, whatever, in here. Oh, I hate that, it's such a pain, I'll never use it. So, alright, that means that at this point I have to only do the thing if count. And look at that, I've already introduced a bug. This is where I am going to process the incoming stuff. I need to scan everything until eventually I get a right. I need to check to see if I'm getting a important thing is to search for the first one of these, if I can find it. There, look. First one of these. La 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 until I get the first 0, which is a stop bit, which is 0. So to figure out the stop bit, every time I see one of these go up, I am every time there's a transition across the there's a 0 crossing upwards, I can use that as a marker and I say what happens after that, and I can see how long does it take before it comes down. And here it's like how long does it take before it comes down, and it's longer. So what I want to first of all do is to detect every instance of it going up. So the instance of it going up, I'm just toying with whether to put it into data structure, but I think I'll just sort of int up if equals 0. So if up I need to also know the previous. Oh, the previous should be up. Yeah, if I'm up, I want to check when it drops down below if negative. So if the sample is negative while we're up, I'm actually going to put comments in because it's not clear from the meaning here otherwise. This means it's a downward 0 crossing. And else, if sample is greater than 0 and we're not up, it means we're down and it's an upward 0 crossing. Anytime there's an upward 0 crossing, step is going to be set to 0. On an upward 0 crossing. Now I can then look at how long is it until we get a downward 0 crossing from the step. No, I'm going to do it a different way. Up, cross, so because I've got a count that counts the number of bytes, so I think I'll also put in sample count equals 0. So having done the sample count equals 0, then When I do this, I make the sample. I can do sample count plus plus. When there's an upward zero crossing, I'm going to store the sample count into step up. Step up also equals 0. So when there's an upward zero crossing, I store the step up. I store the point where it stepped up. Now I've picked the sample rate to be 24,000 samples a second. So doing that is quite handy, because if I sample specifically at that rate, it simplifies the work. Because I can simply count how many samples before it falls down again. Because I remembered where the sample count, where the step up occurred. On the downward zero crossing, we can then check. The length is equal the sample count minus step up. So that's the length of time that the thing was up. And it will simply be resetting every time that there is a detected up. And I don't really need to look at the whole cycle. I can just see how long it was up for. That's going to be good enough, certainly for now. So I can see how many it was up. And then I know from there which type I have read, but I also need to be careful about how many cycles to count. So if we're following the way that, well, it's not going to be very, it could be open sourced, I suppose. It's not really that difficult or complicated. But yeah, why not? It's just, I think there already exists some. I looked to see what exists out there, but they weren't very good. So it all was very messy. So I would like something a little bit more robust. And it actually has other uses too, which, let's say you've got communication with devices in your home, so it's for home automation. You can use this particular standard for doing transmissions within your home. You know, it's like it's very low. It's a low data rate, but there are a lot of useful applications where you don't need a high data rate. So I want tools that are more robust. But anyway, so what's going to happen here is that we can see that a 1 is represented as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cycles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cycles. Unless they were both zeros. Hang on, let's get this straight. Correction. A 1 is represented as 1, 2, 3, 4 cycles. A 0 is represented as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cycles. So what the circuitry does is it just figures out a 1 or a 0 on each of these. Yeah, why not? You could very easily, very cheaply create a transmitter and receiver to transmit radio signals in your home, and there are certain frequency bands that you can use without really much of an issue, and you can make your own. That's one of the things I'd like to do. I'd like to have things able to talk to each other without needing to be connected. And you can of course do this through Wi-Fi, but what a palaver. It's a whole huge stack of technology, and it's very complicated. That's the point. You don't really need it. I could do home automation. I could do homebrew home automation with my Acorn System 1. You know, and this is one of those things that it's another message I want to sort of put out there. When you think about, for example, on your home automation, the vast majority of home automations, they all involve a server. Why the hell do they involve a server? And it's like we've got traffic going from your home off to some place over and over and over, and it comes all the way back to turn on your damn light. And it's insane. Plus the fact that then when the service goes away, right, because the company that thought the next big thing was toasters connected to the internet finds out that it wasn't, and it goes away, they shut down their services, and you're left with stuff that doesn't work anymore. And so, you know, you're what it's actually doing is creating a dependency between the lives of people and companies. This is getting worse and worse. It's like you think you can survive without your iPad. Well, you better get used to it, because at some point there won't be iPads anymore, in all probability. I mean, I know that sounds unlikely, because, I mean, you know, Apple, what could possibly happen to Apple? But it does happen. I'm not saying it will, but it does. This type of thing does happen. And we already have examples of that, where people have relied on technology that then just disappeared. The whole video game industry at one point was relying on renderware, and then EA bought renderware. I will never forgive them for that, because we were reaching a point where the loss of renderware set the whole video game industry back in terms of progression by about, I don't know, 6 years. Eventually we had the idea of middleware engines was proven. This is now it's the normal standard, but we were robbed of that because it got bought by EA, and then of course they didn't keep it going. So the GTA 3 was built with renderware, you know, and yeah, you've got to have your toaster with internet access. So, but you see, this is the thing, is that then you are, you know, they go out of business and you're stuck. So that's why I use Habitat. And I had to dig. It was digging around to try and find a home automation hub that allows you to just work locally. So when I, you know, showed you, it was like, you know, I tell Hal to turn on and off the heater. Well, how does that work? It doesn't go off to Apple. It's actually a the Habitat hub sits on my local area network, and even when I lose internet access, everything still works. So when I lost internet access, I still had full access to all my home automation, which is kind of handy, you know. Yeah, Mark, I'm exactly the same. I thought that happened with our toaster. That Yeah, it's just insane. Absolutely, it's just so. You put a fridge with a TV in it. Get lost. Just please don't do that. That's just like, no. That's just another piece of tech made, wasting the Earth's resources, just going to get thrown away, never used, going to break. You're going to throw out your fridge. You know, it's like, and toasters. It's like, I like nice simple toasters when I go, or anything like that, nice and simple. In fact, I'm concerned about our toaster because it has a blue LED. It's a bad sign. If you have a toaster with a blue LED, bad sign. In fact, anything like kitchen equipment with a blue LED. In fact, anything with a blue LED. I mean, it's like this keyboard has a blue LED. They've done the decent thing though. They've dimmed this blue LED. I mean, there are so many examples of, you know, blue LEDs that they actually, I think over time they dim. These Alesis monitors have blue LEDs. They're so bright. I used to put blue tack over them, but they seem to have tamed themselves. You know, this camera has got a blue LED. It's like the point is that what's really important is for stuff to work, not the colour of the LED. So I don't really have a problem with blue LEDs. I'm just being silly, but it's just the point that, you know, a toaster with a blue LED is a bad sign. It just is. In that case, in that situation, it just feels wrong. So our toaster has a blue LED and it looks like it's been, you know, we've been having trouble with it. I'm not sure. It might be it's on the way out. Something is up. And I'm thinking I should have got a simpler toaster is the first thing. Is the first thing that I'm thinking. I should have a simpler toaster would have been better. Do you know that the story about washing machines? The washing machines became very complicated. They started having all kinds of, you know, computer technology stuff on there that they could use to sell, you know, from a marketing point of view. Did it actually make the clothes any cleaner? I mean, you know, we have a lot of things in our lives that are very clear wins, but microprocessor driven washing machines, not so sure. Now the old washing machines, they used to have these mechanical timer driven mechanical switches. They were driven by a motor and they just ran the program by just slowly it turns and the switch, you know, that makes the electrical connections in there, and you look at that and think, my word, it's so great, isn't it, now that you don't need those, you can have a microprocessor. Well, the reality is those things for which there was plenty of infrastructure and manufacturing to create actually cheaply, those things are actually more reliable. In Italy, my parents have a washing machine. They specifically purchased a washing machine with one of those mechanical things, which you can still get. Why? Because when there's a lightning strike, it tends to fry the electronics of the washing machine. So it does beg the question, doesn't it? Is it all progress or not? And what, you know, does it really matter? Do people really worry about how clean their washing machines clean their clothes? Is this really a serious concern these days? I mean, because frankly, I think, you know, in my life, I don't really think I've ever noticed a major difference between different washing machines. It's like the clothes are clean, you know. It's just, yeah. It's terrible. It's all gimmick land. But anyway, you could say the same thing about home automation, but the reality is I can, from a script, turn on and off my monitor speakers, which is one thing I wanted to really do. I can turn on and off that heater, which is fine because I don't want to forget that I left it on. And the switch for it is way back over there behind stuff that I can't even get to easily. So I actually do web requests. I caught them with curl, you know, the web requests, and I put them in a script. So from this computer, I can access the scripts that turn on and off anything. And it all works without going out to the internet. And then I can put it in a script file. So when I'm done here in the evening, I have a script I run. And what the script does is it first of all backs up all my files to the second hard disk, because I'm working on an SSD, but I have a second disk. Copies all the files over using rsync, so anything modified is copied over for a backup, and then it sends a command to the automation to turn things off. Turns off my speakers first, then it turns off the monitor and the other equipment. The PC doesn't turn off. It will turn itself off. It turns off the heater. Is the last thing it does. So if I've left the heater on, I go downstairs, I don't forget. Otherwise I'm wasting a whole bunch of electricity. And it just does. That's it. I go click on there and it just takes care of it. I love it. That is a good use of things. And and then the computer shuts down because it runs the shutdown command. So the computer shut down because although I used to leave computers on, it's a waste of electricity. So I just shut the computer down. That's fine. When I'm ready in the morning, I've got my iPad which wakes me up in the morning. I can go in a press. I can get to the screen. I can turn everything on while I'm still downstairs. And then the habitat's really good. You can reconfigure it in all kinds of ways. And in fact, what I've done is I associated one of the one that turns off the stuff here. Doesn't turn off the computer, but it is connected to a module which wakes the computer up with Wake on LAN. Wake on LAN. So when I turn on the stuff here, it sends a wake packet to the computer automatically, and the computer boots up. Yeah, it feels that's it. Without having to go to China or wherever it is that the servers are. You know. You're left with both pieces. Oh, right. Yes, it is. The Americans make a washing machine that will survive a nuclear bomb. Yeah, but I think it's important, especially in Australia, because the distance of it depends where you are, but a lot of people, I imagine, There are a lot of people who are a little more remote. And so you really don't want to have to get a new delivery of a washing machine. Anyway, enough of that. The downward zero crossing has occurred a certain time after. And what I want to know then is, was this a 1 or a 0? So if I drop down the cycle, well, let's print this. I'll print it out what the length is of the downward. Print it. So printf %d %d. Right, let's do some %6d %6d. So some equally spaced, and I will do on the sample count, and we'll do sample count actually minus, no, step up is where it started, and the length, and it'll just print that out. Let's see what this does. Do I need to do anything else? I don't think so. Let's try it. Oh, uninitialized, so local variable sample. Oh dear. But its point is an attitude, isn't it? I mean, what I mean is that if we're in Europe, for example, the population density is very high. So maybe that's a factor, but kind of you're telling me that in Australia people buy things that last. It just seems to make sense, regardless of kangaroos. You know, it just seems to make sense. Is that fair? I don't know. You tell me. And the problem here is that it just exits the flipping thing. Oh, right, because am I still using putchar? Finding quality stuff is really, yes, it is really, really hard. So wasteful, because it just means that we end up throwing stuff away. So I don't need to do this on the standard out anymore. I'm printing this. I need it to hold at the end. I need to print it to a file. Otherwise I can't read it. Unless I do a debug out. I don't feel like setting that up. So let's have a look if I can properties that into output. So then I might be able to just put the file that was something called output, I hope. There is this output file, which is empty. So let's just do a little test here. Printf hello. And just so things don't get confused, exit 0, run this, and then we see what the output is. There it is. So then I can take that and put it oh come on, you're gonna crash, aren't you? I've just managed to crash. I crashed Visual Studio by dragging a window. Thank you so much. Wonderful professional job. It's brilliant. Such a great job there. Oh, it won't let me have different sizes on different windows. Look at that. Yeah, of course. Why would anybody want that? Oh, and I've crashed Visual Studio again. Even now, it doesn't even restart. Yeah, just what? Flipping heck. It's crazy. There's no excuse for it. It's really none. Not when you've got a company that makes that amount of money. There's no excuse. It's crashing every time now. Look at that. Because I've been cursing Visual Studio, and the more I curse it, the more, you know, mad it gets with me. I will not let you reposition this window. I will not let you put this where you want it. I will decide where it needs to go. I will control the horizontal and the vertical. Boom. You ever seen that? I've never seen that before. It's just so rubbish. I know, I'm doing something very they put what they do is they put the feature in there to help sell the product, but then don't want anybody to use it. Maybe if I put the window down to, say, 100, and then I try. And then it worked. Do not try to redo your window layouts when you are using 200%. If you really need to change your font size to something less than 200%, then redo the window and the layout, and then change the font, because Microsoft don't make enough money to ensure that their software is robust. I'm sorry, it's just, I had enough. You've had years and years and years of it. It's like, okay, well, this workflow is now actually working. The output of this program appears down here, so that's quite nice. And I can run a debugger. So, you know, let's run the debugger. Let's run a breakpoints. Let's do this thing. It was a big top loader, yes. In Europe, we don't have those because we don't have the room for them. Our washing machines are usually placed under counters. They were very popular in America. Yeah, it's weird. Okay, let's do some debugging. There is a problem. That's the issue. I forgot to set the up and down. Look, if it's up and the sample goes that way, it's necessary to say that it's not up anymore, or you have to set it to 0. And then, you know, on the other hand, if you're going down, if you're down and it's going up, when it's up, you have to say that it's up. I have some results. Position 2, length 1. Position 4, length 4. Position 9, length 6. Accrington Academicals and Queen of the South. No. Academicals 0, Queen of the South 13. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. JetBrains IDEs are bloated, but they're pretty reliable. Well, unfortunately, the problem is that humanity confuses the menu for the meal. And nowhere do you see this as more relevant than with name brands. There's this assumption. I mean, it's fueled by people on YouTube. I tell you, they're always talking about name brands. It's a name brand. It's quality. It's a name brand. It's a name brand. And then they talk about stuff from China. There's quite a lot about that. Quite a lot of that YouTube from America. So they say, oh, it's a Chinese thing. Oh, and they say that Chinese stuff is rubbish, and it's just like, well, you know, this was made in China. You know, it's like, well, actually, most of the stuff that we have is Chinese. So it's like, really, it's very kind of selective. You bought an exercise bike and it's broke. Yeah. I feel for you on that. You buy exercise bike, don't buy a cheap one. You can't buy cheap exercise equipment because it will just break. Having said that, one of the best uses of exercise equipment I've seen in practice, people buy it and then it's used for drying clothes. Very, 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 very complex clothes rack. I'm not saying that would have happened with yours, Mark, but I mean, you know, if it did break, at least you've still got the clothes rack. Hey, Zag. It's true, because people buy into the ideas of things. You know, I buy things that I am going to use. I'm very good with that, except with some musical instruments. But in part, that's been not having the space to have them out. But anyway, so look, this is weird. 18. It was up for 18 frames. Okay, that doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. So what I'm going to do is print a different debugging thing here. Right. On each one of these things, I can also print out let me turn that one off. I'm going to come here and print out oh, you've just seen the God on the River. It was hard. Hard. Is that the new thing? I don't know what it means. Tell me, what does it mean? I have no idea what this hard thing that you're doing thing. It was difficult. That's what I understand it. Difficult to do. It took a while, at least. Let's see, so the step up is there, but I also need to know the current samples. So what I'm going to do is print the sample count and step up, and we'll see if this makes any sense. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see the numbers just get bigger and bigger here. Yeah, because this... and I need to print the sample as well. Sorry, I knew there was something. %D. It was great. Okay. No, I didn't think it was... I didn't take it as anything but a compliment, but I was just curious as what it meant. Oh, it's very American. It is inspired... Well, Alan Watts lived in America for a big chunk of his life. And so there is definitely American culture is connected in there. He did all his talks in America from an American perspective to an American audience. He also was into jazz. He liked jazz. He would sometimes talk about how you should live life like, you know, got to swing with it, is one of the things he said. So the actual era of the music was... I was trying to make it a little bit sort of retro. Sort of hinting at, anyway, certain era. That explains that. Yeah. I did. I lived in the US for 5 years, I did. Sample count, step up, and I also need my sample so that I can debug this thing. So here we see it's negative. Oh, you know what else I can print? Just print it all, print everything. %6D. I can also print up, and then I can just inspect it and see where it's going wrong. Oh, come on. There we are. So it's at -49. It's not up. And on the next sample, it was at 49. See, these samples are really, really small. It's like noise. And that's because I probably hadn't... it doesn't look like the signals come through. Look at that. That's the problem. The samples are so small that basically there's no signal. So what went... Oh, because am I pulling it from data raw? I think I am. Properties. Debugging. Yeah, data raw. I pulled it from the wrong microphone. Zzz. We need to pull this from the other one, which is input number 8, or IN space 07-08, open parenthesis, Behringer UMC 1820. I can recommend the Behringer UMC 1820. Yeah, I've been quite happy with it. It's worked quite reliably. I really care about that a lot more than I care about audio quality. It's like, not saying that's bad, but there we go. I think I'm pulling it from the right one now. Yes, I did. I lived in the US 5 years. I lived in the Bay Area, and then San Jose. Right, let's go and got my Acorn Atom still running over here. Let's see, we're going to hit enter, and then I'll click through, and then that's running now, and then I run the program, and I control C. Now I should have the proper data. If I run this again, let's see what we get this time. Hopefully I have a signal. What? Yes, very even lower. Now this actually is very low because there's a very low noise, because it's a much better audio interface. However, something's gone wrong in 0708. It's probably because it's taken the wrong. Maybe I need to put it in channel 7. Yeah. JB? Who's JB? How can I get the mono? Hang on. The problem is I'm only using one channel, and so it's a stereo. FFmpeg, specify which mono channel. You can modify let's see. How to convert stereo sound to mono. stereo right channel to mono, AF pan mono. Right, so there is a I need to use that option, I think. Oh, I don't know. I don't think I ever worked with Jonathan Blow. This was a while ago, mate. It was like 20 years ago, plus 23 years ago, 24 years ago, when I first moved there. Came back 20 years ago. So right, let's see if this works. Just get there's always a complication. I have to get it sees the interface as a stereo, and I need to get the I'm on channel 8 and I think it was taking channel 7. Gave me zeros. That's not good. Ay. Well, I don't think it made any difference really. In 0708 AF pan. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is a brilliant movie. I watched that when it came out. I was living in Santa Monica. And there's a big cinema, lots of cinemas there in Santa Monica. There was a cinema that was just playing Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I think I must have watched it about 6 or 7 times. I was going through a very difficult patch when that film came out, and yeah, my time in America wasn't a particularly happy one, I can tell you. It's an astonishing movie, actually. Just the way that, just the feeling that it gives you, the ambience of it. It's not even really the story, it's just the bamboo forest. There's a scene where they're sort of sitting in this bamboo forest, and you can see the cameras panning over this bamboo forest, and you can hear the sound of the wind through the bamboo, and it's just like, it's amazing. It was like just peace. Yeah. Well, this is not working. I want to check something. Is it working in here? Or how would I know? I need to be able to import it. I think what I'm going to have to do is, I'm going to have to try to get it to generate a WAV file. Oh. Right, let's get rid of that option, which is wrong in that position anyway. And then I'm going to have to change this to WAV, and we'll put this in a WAV file, data.wav. Let's try that again. Be ready this time. 0200. That's right. Ready to save this. Here we go. No, I did that too soon. Yeah, try again. Reset. Save 0200. We're going to wait for it to start, and then we hit that, and then Control C, and I need to see if I actually got that data.wav, which I can then drag in here. Ah, well, there we go. Very difficult. FFmpeg -F. To get the full effect of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, you need to see it in a cinema, though. It's not quite the same otherwise. You're sitting in the cinema, especially not too far away from the screen, you know, when that bamboo forest is panning over. It's amazing, but you get a sense of the scale. I don't think you really catch that on a TV, you know. So now I have to figure out in my dreams, yes. Did I learn anything useful from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? I think what I learnt from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, philosophical in nature, was the importance of the feeling that the bamboo forest created, and that was very important. but it's not really something you can put into words. Like describe the feeling of the bamboo forest in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You can't. We don't have a language for it. The funny thing is that I think the Chinese and Japanese actually do. Something I want to investigate is there are words which are used in those cultures to describe things, single words that describe certain feelings in far greater detail and richness than we have in our languages, so that we have to sort of use whole sentences to describe something that they describe in a word. And I haven't found what those things are. I don't know what they're called. I don't know how to track them down. I think I'd have to I would have to read the writings of Alan Watts as the starting point. I've tried to search for it. Pretty tough. Words that describe moods or feelings in the Chinese and or Japanese languages. There'll be one for the bamboo forest. There's more. There are things that experiences that we have that go beyond the literal. I think it helped me understand what art is. As you may, I've probably said before. Yeah. It's what I've already said before is that I have a definition of art. For me, what art is a solved problem. And that's a bold statement, but yeah, I think it's solved for me. It's like art is a communication that is not solely intellectual. In any communication there can be an intellectual component. An intellectual component is one that you can formalize, you can write it down, you can describe it, you can use words. So you can say, I went for a walk, I went for a walk in the mountains or in the hills. I always use Wordsworth's poem as an example, and I saw some daffodils and some clouds. It was pretty. That's not poetry, but it says, it very clearly says what happened. But the art of poetry is to say what cannot be said. I wandered as lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle in the Milky Way. They stretched in a never-ending line along the margin of the bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. A lot of words. A lot more words than just saying, I went for a walk in the hills, but the point is, it communicates something more than just the language. It communicates more than what the surface of the communication communicates. It says what cannot be said. Well, you can take this, and this is what I do with my videos, and maybe that's one of the things that I got tuned into when I watched Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Because it is not just true of poetry, it's true of music, it's true of painting, it's true of editing video clips. So what I try to do is say what cannot be said. There's because there's always the part which is just like, oh well, yeah, that bit's obvious. Yeah, that's clear. That's an explanation. The lyrics of this song mean specifically this or that. But then there's the big part of it is also communicating what you can't put into words. And that's the bit that is the art. You know? Tell me what the feeling of the bamboo foresting crouching tiger hidden dragon is in words. I can try. I'm going to get as far as the word peace, but it's more than that. It's like a breathing in and a breathing out at the same time. It's like an eternal sigh. It's like guardians watching over you. It's like a reassurance that in a world that is turbulent and that is full of uncertainty, something is going to continue after you've gone. It's not easy, and I'm not sure that it is even right. And then you can also say that doesn't really matter. They are the words that came out when I thought about it, therefore they are correct. And in a sense, that is a part of the feeling I got from the bamboo forest as well. That everything is as it should be. You know. Ran? No, I didn't. The irony of Kung Fu Panda is that it's China history. Well, it's a big complicated thing that I can't really comment about. I don't know much about Chinese history. Hello, Dingo. So, how are you doing? Kickoff, player, manager and goal. Some of my favorite. Yeah, well, thank you. Welcome. You might have just entered when I was in a bit of a philosophical stroke poetic mood. But right now I need to figure out how I can act, why it is I'm not getting any data. It's like it's blank. What about if I turn off stereo? So that was the dash AC1. Turn off mono, I mean. What do I get then? I don't need to run that. I should pick up a carrier signal anyway. So let's try. And well, there we are. We have it on the which channel? I guess that's the right channel and there's the left channel. It's on the left channel, not the right channel. So it might be that F-span mono, this thing here. I might need to just switch it so that it's say FL as a guess. What master? I didn't rant just now. I know, it's necessary to rant, otherwise I would have nobody watching. Yes. Ranting is my version of marketing. How's that? Pulling the data over. Oh, it's blank. I suppose the easiest way I can fix this problemo is by oh, this is stuck. Come on, unplug this cable. Man, I can plug this into channel 7. This is the easiest way to fix the problemo, I think. And what did I have that knob on? Oh, there it is. Right, gotcha. So I've actually moved it onto the other channel, which is probably not a very technical solution, but probably a good one. Let me get this thing up here. I don't know, I saw once Jonathan Blow started doing some kind of, almost felt like alt-right stuff. And it put me off him a little bit, so I haven't really checked out his stream. It confused me. Is he, I mean, you know, does he get political? I mean, I know I do get political a bit sometimes, but... Oh, I've got the... Weird, look at that pattern. I've got a signal in there now, so just switching over onto their channel solved it. Alt-right isn't offensive at all. That's not, you know, that's the thing about... I complain about woke. I don't complain about woke, I complain about the term. It's the fact I see it used as a pejorative. It's used as the same way as, you know, social justice and fighting for what you believe in. In other words, fighting for social justice is considered to be, you know, something bad. Waking up and smelling the hummus should also be, you know, if that is treated as something bad. But the thing is that the alt-right are based on what? What is their foundational beliefs? In the end, it's about well, my conclusion when looking at it is that their activities seem to revolve around bullying, and that's my summary. It's like you can dress bullying up in many ways to try and make it socially acceptable. In the end, it's bullying. I have to get rid of this. Right, so let's see if I can get this data going. We're going to hit enter here, and it's running, and then I send the thing, and then I stop it, and we should have some data now, I hope. Does it? I think it's tempting, but I think that's simplistic. Right, let's run. Here we have data, which is what we wanted, so that's good. Yeah, all right, so what I'll do is turn that off, turn this on, try and run this again. That's nice contained numbers. So we're in the leader at the moment, where it goes between 4 and 5 cycles. Now at some point there'll be the first data thing. There. Now you can see when the data arrives, suddenly we have 10 cycles or 9 cycles. So it's double the number of cycles. And so with that, that's good. I can use that. So having got that, then I would need to scan until I get the first bit, or the first long. Everything has to begin with the first long pulse, because the first long pulse is a 0, and every bit, every byte begins with a start bit, which is a 0. So I suppose I need to know if I am, what state I'm in at the moment. So I need some kind of, it's very hacky right now. I need some kind of a state thing as I am. Well, the bit of, actually I don't need a state thing, I need a bit counter. So which bit am I on? I'm currently on bit 0. So when I get the first sample count, and to know this, every sample count is either 4 and 5 or 9 or 10. So if I go between 5 and 9, I have 6, 7, 8. If I do 7, 7 is a good split between the two. So at this point I say if the length is greater than 7, well, that means I've got something that looks like a 0 bit. Well, that's happened. 0 bit. And so we need to count forward a certain number. Right. I could do it. I can make something called skip. La la la. So what has to happen here is that if it's greater than 7, well, I can look at the data here to know and see it. See, that's where it started. It actually goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cycles. Before it dropped back down again. So I need to wait until it drops down again. Oh, right. Let's go down the data a bit more. Say, for example, yeah, I don't think it's as simple as that. I think that there is more to it. Not anything good. get that? I'm just going to record that again because I seem to have lost it into data.wav. 0200. Right, there we go. Ooh, look at that. That's nasty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I didn't say that. I just said I got the impression once on a particular stream that he had that he leaned in that direction. That was an impression I got. I actually put that up so that I could be corrected if it wasn't the case. I mean, maybe I got the wrong end of the stick. Maybe I caught him on a bad day. You tell me. I was canvassing opinion on it because maybe I got it wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it was really the only time ever. Maybe I was unlucky. You tell me. What's his philosophy? You know. It was confusing me because I didn't really expect that. So, but you know, when you're streaming, sometimes you say things and then they get taken out of context, you know, or misunderstood. Are you? I was expressing a feeling that I get from it. Let's just check what the latest definition of alt-right is. Well, okay, an abbreviation of alternative right is a loosely connected far-right white nationalist movement. So that would suggest that it is racist. The term is ill-defined, having been used in different ways by various self-described alt-rightists, media commentators and academics. So there's a blurriness, which is why I said it's more complicated. Groups which have been identified as alt-right. Right, so those are non, if it's white supremacism and white separatism and right-wing populism is something different. If there's the word white in there, then it's basically racist. When you've got right-wing populism, that is a bit vague. Anti-immigration, generally racist. Racism is generally racist. Anti-communism, that one's tricky because that's not racist per se. And you could argue that America has been anti-communist for a while. Anti-Zionism is then, that's anti-Semitic, isn't it? So, the same thing. Maybe there's a difference between the two. I'm not really sure. Holocaust denial, that's just insanity. Xenophobia, that's just another form of racism. Anti-intellectualism, this is not racism, but this is one of the attributes I've seen of the alt-right. Anti-feminism is not racism, but it's definitely an attribute I've seen of the alt-right. Homophobia, okay, and Islamophobia, so then you've got, that's religionism, and yeah, homophobia, that one's obvious. So that does sort of like put, it is more, that's why I said it's more than just, to just say that they're Nazi racist is a bit simplistic, because there's a bit more there than that, So what I do is I say that what I'm saying is that the alt-right is just bullying when you put it all together. Why? Because all of those things involve trying to push away other people, trying to shut other people up, trying to, expel other people. And it's actually all the activities of bullying, what bullies do. They intimidate, they separate, they use politics to get people to gang up on the other people in a group. And so that's why I said, that for me all of the race, all these isms, sexism, racism, all the isms, they're all a form of bullying. I don't really see, if I had to put it all under one umbrella. So I hope that clarifies that. What about control? Yeah, okay. So maybe he's a bit right of centre, and he might, and there's nothing wrong with being right of centre, but he said some stuff that alerted me to, and it might be just one sampling, but in a ballpark, if someone is being, me by now, if there's talk about any particular group, religious group, culture, I mean, he's even got to the point of beliefs, and people start, making generalizations. I make generalizations about software, but I think that I do that with a justification because I back it up with evidence as well, and that's not quite the same thing. But you know, it's treating people with disrespect, and I'm very sensitive to that. I don't like hearing it, you know. But if, you know, maybe I'll give him another chance. And if you're offended because I said I made a connection, or went too far and said, all right, I'll apologise. You know, it's not. I didn't mean it in that way. I just meant it in the sense of bringing up the topic and seeing if I got the right end of the stick. You know. Well, that's it. You know, this thing is people have good intentions. That's half the battle won. And I didn't really sense that he, you know, had bad intentions. I hope that clears that up. Ah, boy. Well, I think I might have to be wrapping this up because I'm getting a bit slower with my thing here. I'm also looking at that, and that worries me. That little glitch. See, that would be detected as an extra going up. On one sample. No, I don't know. It might not be so bad. I have to look at this. I know what the pattern is. At the beginning it's going to be the same. So I suppose I could just compare the two. From here like that, blah 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 blah. That would be where it first. Oh shit! Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to hit play. I need to let me turn that off. Ow!
Hello, Dino.
Shut up, Hal. I actually started on the big one there. Look. So that's 2 zeros and this is a 1. I just want to make sure I've got that right. You can see the size of the bands here, right? Yeah, sorry, Mark. Do not go up there. Actually, what I've done is I've just muted the PC, the desktop audio to protect you all. The beginning of this is 2 zeros. So let's go back and look at the output. It begins with 2 zeros. So how can I tell how many samples is 2 zeros? I can see the individual samples here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71. It's about 70. Well, I learn from my mistakes, and really do regret that. A thousand pardons, apologies, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, so I was around about 70. So 10. 20, no, from, I need to look at it from here. It comes, yeah, okay. It's roughly 4 of these make a 1. So what I need to do is see how long I can go before I end up with one that drops below the 7. So if I have the 7, I go until, well, look, the whole the total amount here is 39. $35. Oh, but includes this one. 58. 54 samples. Oh boy. I asked for that, didn't I? I did. I did, Zach. It's all right. I forgive you. If you forgive me, I forgive you. And we'll say we're even. Yeah. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, jeez. I'm gonna have to go. I'm going to have to go because I need to work tomorrow, and I've got a really long commute. I have to get from the bedroom to the bathroom, and then I have to get from the bathroom to the bedroom, and then I have to go from the bedroom up the stairs. So I think, and I'm also not making much progress, but I have put in my head enough information that tomorrow will be good. So there we are. I'm going to wrap up. Thanks for watching, and if you saw the well, I always end on a video these days, so it'll have to be the new single, God and the River. It should be available on Spotify. Yes, I do try not to. In fact, Spotify, yes, you can actually buy the thing. but it's very, very expensive, and very few people can afford it, really. Right. Dong! Nice chord to begin with. It was not 15 minutes ago. I don't know. What about the seagulls? Oh, George. Yeah, someone said George. It was not... Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. It should be there. Spotify. It's got to be. You're telling me it's not released yet. Maybe it was released... Maybe it takes a few hours to come up. Spotify, Dino Dini. And let's see. God and the River. Latest release. On Spotify. There you go. Yeah, it could be that it doesn't arrive until midnight, hits your region. So I don't know how that works. Thanks for watching. Yeah, hopefully I'll be back again tomorrow. We'll see if I'm not doing any music. Until then, take care. So, here we go. Video view. Do this thing. Hello, Hal. Hal's fallen asleep. And mine.
In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was God. I was walking along and right by the stream searching. I felt like a 2-year-old urchin. Was thinking about the sun somewhere behind the clouds. And the trees, they all agreed with that chattering sound. I went for the stars, but I could not see any, nor the sky above, and nor eternity. There were no words to spoil or taint the scene. No black, no white, no grey, nothing to be. So tell me, did he really know what he was making? And does he already know the ending? If God had a river of his own, did he learn to let go? Let it carry him down to where he needed to go. Was there anyone looking after the place where he would be? Thereafter I want to know about God and the river. Makes no sense, there can be no pretense. If you look at us, we're all like little children playing in the playground, but not so nicely. If God is our parent, then where the hell is he or she? Tell me, did she really know
see, that forces us now to fade it out by then.